Bum, bum. I forgot to do the intro, and I'm shaving. It's far from the floor. When we were in the pit, Matt, it was always multitasking. Miss Trade canceled and now permanently on vacation, which is not a bad place to be. Looks gorgeous, Matt. That is not a Zoom background, by the way.
It's not.
We're going to have to look at hog prices as I see you demolishing a pound of bacon in front of us. Most things are supply and demand driven. And over under on how fast Miss Trade could take down a pound of bacon. I'm pretty sure. And he's drinking a Guinness early in the morning there up in God's country on the Olympic Peninsula. Matt, first things first, the undefeated teams, this just got much smaller.
Yes.
They're saying
Alabama gone.
They're saying that game was possibly the best game in college history.
That was a good game. I mean, it definitely went down to the back and forth. It was, what was it, 52-49? I enjoyed it.
52, 2 seconds left, game winner. And,
TCU, that TCU Okie State game was also very good, and it came down to the last minute. And Okie State covered, like we told you to say, but they lost the game. USC lost, but they covered. So there's two. We were 7-4 in the college ranks, and we were 1-0 in the pros. Did not win your parlay, but overall a winning weekend again for the degenerates out there.
Again. Yeah, Penn State was putting up a fight, and then
they were not putting up a fight. Michigan
slowed down the first half.
Wait, you realize they had one first down in the first half. They were not putting up a fight. There was nothing fighting about one first down and 7 overall in the game. Give me a break. I mean, we threw a pick six, and the quarterback who runs a 5.9 ran 60 yards because we have no linebackers that apparently can run 5.9s either.
I ran a 5.9 for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. 4.8 40.
More importantly, the Padres move on. Move on, upset my Dodgers, which I'm excited about. Gotta admit.
All right, Matt. Apparently World War III didn't happen again this weekend, as it seems that everybody runs for cover on the weekend as they think, how could they be that irresponsible? Right.
Hey, can you send me the Twitter link again, please?
Oh, yeah. Twitter. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me find it. I'm going to put it in the room, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wherever works for you, Bob.
Copy link. Look at I am so tech savvy. It's insane how tech savvy I am.
So tech savvy.
Enter. There. Done. All right, Matt, since we are starting the week, if it's possible, I just want to jump right to the weekly chart.
Sure.
And I want to share that because if you let me share, let me just jump to the weekly because it's really driving the show as far as I'm concerned. The weekly, weekly, definitely weeklies. Admit. I don't even know who it is. We'll admit them. Why would I care? All right, here we go. Weekly. Look at that standard deviation momentum line, lower slope, Matt. And it comes in at 37.10 this week. Keep that in mind. Write it down right now. 37.10. A close above 37.10 in the SPOOs is less weak. It doesn't mean that the bear market is over. It just means it's less weak. If you look at the run that these things had on the weekly, from the COVID lows, guess what? We maintain positive slope the entire way, all right, until we change the slope. Now we've changed the slope here once, and that was a little falsy on this last run up to 4,300. You got to respect this slope. I will say, though, if we can close the week above 37.10, I don't see why we wouldn't run these things to 39.20. That's the weekly average. And in a bear market, you get face rippers. For sure, you get face rippers. So That's what I'm looking at weekly. Definitely pay attention to the weekly 3710. I'll say it again, write it down, stencil it on your forehead if you have to. And Matt, since you're eating a pound of bacon, let's just jump, since we can, to the weekly in hogs. And apparently a lot of demand going on for hogs. This Dees chart is vicious, man. In a couple of weeks, they've gone from 73 cents to 84.62 last Dees hogs, 11-cent ripper, 400 a cent. You do the math, Matt. In 3 weeks, this thing has just, I got to tell you, the hog market, cattle market are pasting people to the walls with volatility. Anyway.
And is this seasonality typical, Bob?
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. In general, Dees is the weakest contract on the board, and this is not typical of. Usually, sometime into late November, the contract cash bottoms, and so this is again an 11-cent rally in 3 weeks. It's really not normal. In like everything else, Matt, there's not a lot of normalcy.
I mean, okay, so what could that tell us? I mean, seriously, like what could that tell us coming into the holidays and having pork fly like this? Like, and this is not typical, you're telling me. So,
well, not only that, what's really evident now is that the Chinese need a lot more protein than they were letting on. Hog prices in China are escalating also, and it's amazing, Matt, in this geopolitical world that we live in, right? We're supposed to be at war, basically, with Russia, yet we need all the uranium that we can get from them. And again, like, they're not going to push, like, the nuclear threat seems overblown. Like, how do we keep pushing this envelope and risk not having any uranium for any of our nuclear reactors? How's that going to go over for people? Because I don't know. It makes no sense on every level. How about that? Current policy makes no sense on every level.
Well, and again, we open up today, Monday, with, I mean, I think this is 3 weekends in a row, right, where the world was going to come to an end following Friday's action. The last 3 Fridays have just closed bullish, or excuse me, extremely bearish. And in not one of these cases have we gapped down lower. And today we gapped right up. I mean, you basically gapped up Sunday over 100 points right away, and we've just been ripping. But the intraday market, since we opened at 6:30, is dead. I mean, we're at the same prices that we opened at 3 hours ago. So it's hard to get too excited because the follow through isn't there. But that being said, I think you have to your point, the bullishness has still been in the court, regardless of whatever the talking heads may be saying about the end of the world. You have to follow the prices, and the prices have been saying that, listen, 3,500, 3,600 are key levels, and they both keep holding. And the more they hold, the more the stronger that base gets down there of buyers that will finally come in and commit. And usually what happens, Bob, and I think this is what we're going to see, we're going to quietly move back to 39.50, 40.50 on the spoos, and nobody really will have been involved, and then they'll get involved, and then it'll be time to go back down to the next level. So
bingo. Matt, one economic indicator that nobody pays attention to right out today. By the way, why don't you tell me about my eyebrow? Because
what's going on with them? I can't really tell.
I look like Andy.
Yeah, I got a lot of sun coming. I got the sunrise coming up. Here over it,
the Empire State Index, and
which is right up there, by the way, with the Ann Arbor Housewife Index. Nobody gives a crap.
Michigan sentiment, but yeah. Anyway, Matt, down 9.1. They're expecting it down 5.0, and the previous was down 1.5. I know J.P. Morgan has called for a recession in 9 months, like they have the crystal ball better than everybody else.
Do you think they were taking that poll from Jamie Dimon's wife and the Citibank chairman's
I think
wife?
so. It was at breakfast at Tiffany's, and the wives of bankers.
Okay,
wives of bankers took that one. Anyway, Matt, even if it is just the Empire State Index, sooner or later, and we have said this, that the real sell-off comes when we actually start getting terrible news. and we still haven't got it. I mean, that can't be good, right? They missed by again. The forecasters, to give me a job as one of these forecasters, because it seems you can be off by 100% and still have a job. Like there's not a problem with that.
Matter of fact, I think to your point, it's fully encouraged.
Just be wrong, and be wrong huge. And they used to say that on the trading floor, Matt. If you're going to blow out big.
Do it in style. Do it in style.
No. Blow out big, because they'll want to keep you around to see if you can't make it back. If you blow out just a little bit, they're like, cut our losses, get them out of here, right? Or her. Let's be fair. Everybody can blow out equally. And so if you're going to blow out giant, if somebody else is backing you, and then say, give me back in the batter's box. Give me a few more cuts at this.
Well, this week we do kick off the earnings. I believe Tesla is later this week. I believe the Tesla earnings are on Thursday. For all the Reddit bros that can't wait for that to come. That's their happiest day of the year. So
why don't you bring it, if you can, if your internet connectivity and technology is working well enough, bring up Tesla, because let's say they don't miss, and let's say they don't caution terribly forward at this. They word it correctly, right? They have a beautiful wordsmith on the call. And they rally it. Where are you chomping at the bit to sell?
Well,
Tesla?
I mean, it's already up again. 200 was kind of the line in that sand for me, and so we banged off of 204 or so.
We don't see it. Bring it. See if you can bring it up. If you can share it.
Sure.
Let's see if technology is working. Let's see if he can technologicize this.
Let's see if I don't know if there is a sharing button on this right now. Actually, I don't know. Share screen. I do have one.
Look at that. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
He's out in God's country. The peninsula, we call it.
Mm-hmm.
The peninsula. Oh, look at that. And it's gorgeous.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So I got this other little screen, this whiteboard screen I got to get rid of. I don't know what that is. So yeah, we traded all the way down here to 203, 204 on Friday. And again, in my mind, I don't really want to be long this, but that was kind of an area 200, and it teased you Friday down there at 203, 204. So if you were fortunate enough to buy the death that was coming over the weekend, and you're up 7 or 8% today, by all means take profits. By all means take profits.
And for sure, if you get to that lower end of that profile, if you're not taking profits there, you are, what do we call them, Matt?
A piggy. Oink.
A piggy. Miss Piggy.
And again, 240 is kind of that bottom of that profile area here, just on this is, I'd say, a 1 month look. So it's hard to get real bullish overall until you get back to that 240 level. And we're at 220. So, maybe another half day tomorrow, we could be there. But we do have the earnings coming. Of course, it'll be spun. It'll be exciting, yada, yada. But again, I just don't see... I don't. This is so overvalued. Valuations never have mattered for Tesla, so I don't even want to talk about them. It's the price is the only thing that matters. But again, you got to, I think, solidly close over 240, and then you might be able to run back to 300. If not, and that would be like on a weekly chart. If not, I think there's going to be more downside yet to come. And if they warn and have a horrible earnings, this thing could trade down to 160, 170. So keep that in mind, that, you really, even though it's been selling off, this could be, just the perfect opportunity to trap the people now that are going, oh, shoot, I should have bought it there at 203. Now it's 220. Then they buy it at 230 and 240, and then whoosh, all the way back to 200 or 180. You know what I mean? So I just wouldn't touch it into this earnings period. I would rather see how the market kind of absorbs this new information that will be coming, and how it reacts to it is really what I would choose to do, versus trying to play. Because the easy money, I mean, this thing in the last month has gone from 315 all the way down here to 200. So if you weren't short already, you missed the easy money, and now it's like it's in a difficult spot. It's not an easy trade either way. It's just not an easy trade.
Well, for sure, I know that you've noticed, and I've noticed the number of EV commercials from every manufacturer out there that is bringing product to market to contend and compete. And so it's just not it's not the story it was last year, the year before, pre-COVID. It's just not the same story.
No, it's not. And again, that's where the dissonance of people and investors and traders gets in the way sometimes. You really have to trade what's in front of you. And we do try to drive that home here with people. ARK is up 7.5% today. Kathy's having a good day. Again, throw a dart. Anything that's high, high beta is having that type of day today. So it's hard to get too excited when everything, again, all assets are one, everything's moving together. Natural gas, if I would like you to bring up a long-term chart on that, just because you're going to be a little faster than me today.
Okay.
But that's down another 50 cents today. It was below $6. And it's really getting to a spot now where it's going to be do or die for the bulls. I mean, this thing is just getting rocked. Oil is actually up a little bit today. So I'm just curious your take on it and what you see on the natural gas side of things.
Hold on a second. I don't know why it's not. Everything becomes difficult with our remote broad. Oh man, is that a pretty picture to portray? Yeah, let me bring it up. Natti, and like you said, from a weekly standpoint, if this was an hourly and you're not saying run for the hills, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Falling away potential to the downside, that gets you all the way down to the 475 area. For sure, the only backstop right now, Matt, is this double bottom here at 539-ish, let's call it. But this is an ugly looking weekly chart. And the other thing that you have to pay attention to is when it's accelerating, how big these weekly ranges have been. And the last 4 have been small. The last 3 weeks have been small weekly ranges. Giddy up, baby, giddy up. It doesn't have to make sense, i.e. that we're going into winter. It's supposed to be the highest demand for natural gas, and this chart should be bullish because of the seasonal. Again, more people have died marrying the seasonal that's supposed to take place than trading the chart in front of you. I mean, the seasonals, that's great. Be guided by a seasonal sway, but if you don't then lay all the money on the table with what the technical or profile view is telling you, I think you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And a trading view, man, is just a great vehicle. Let me see if I can't remember where the fuck this was. The ability, fixed range volume profile. Let's just do that, Matt. And let's do it from, basically it's been sideways till about June of 21. And we can just do that and just take that snapshot. And when you look at that, this whole rally now is in jeopardy as we've re-entered the longer term value range on this weekly. And again, that point of control from when it started to go bananas post-COVID, 392 is that long-term point of control. So again, talk about a vicious and wicked and dangerous market to be involved in to begin with. Yes. But then if you don't understand that it has been vicious and it can continue to be vicious, just by those 2 metrics, Matt, 3 small weekly ranges in a row when they've been having giant ranges, entering a major long-term profile, and the point of control is hell and gone from where we are now, and you got falling away standard deviation modeling. Look out. That's all I got to say. Look out.
Right.
And by the way, Matt, natural gas at $4 to $5 is still ridiculous compared to the long-term pricing that we've enjoyed on our gas-fired furnaces, which they want to outlaw in Illinois. Did you see that?
No.
Yes, yeah. Illinois latest thing they want to table is to outlaw new home construction with forced air heat, which is natural gas heat.
Yeah.
I don't know what are people going to rub sticks together? I'm not sure what they're going to do.
Yeah, make the caveman great again, right? You ever seen that the one-man show? What was it called? The Caveman?
Yeah. Defending the caveman.
Defending the caveman.
It's fantastic.
Make defending the caveman great again, I guess.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go that way again. And then I don't know how all the libs will find their heat and food though, because they only know how to go to the convenience store for what they need immediately. So the lack of planning there may come into issue.
I'm looking at it. Weed is a pot stock. No, what's your big pot stock?
CGC.
Let me just, again, I'm hearing all of this chatter recently about pot stocks. And I just, yeah, it's up almost 7%.
Everything is up 7% today, though. So,
I mean, this is such a beautiful chart. This in a clown world.
you have to show it. Show us what you're looking at.
This is value investing in a clown world. Whoa, not leave the meeting, share the chart. Almost left the meeting. This is value investing in a clown world. It was up to $55 because everybody was going to be cured of all their ills. That marijuana does everything for everybody. Don't worry. Roll it, smoke it. You got a blunt, have a blunt, will travel. 251, Matt, up 7%, up 16 cents today. There's a harvest going on right now with marijuana, and we live in a completely euphoric marijuana community, correct? I mean, there's just about as many dispensaries as there are microbreweries here.
Probably more microbreweries, and there are more. There's like, I think 10x pot stores than as there are OLCC liquor stores, right? There's only like 4 or 5 liquor stores, and then you have like 40 pot stores. Like, how does that work out?
And
that just tells me the state's trying to collect fat fees on the other 36 that aren't going to make it until they collapse. So it's really a racket. It's really a racket.
Just look at that chart. And for me, this looks like it, yeah, maybe it could have a story at some time in the future, but it sure looks like it wants to flatline here, maybe forever. I know forever's a long time. Listen, if you do burn a blunt, I highly recommend the new documentary on infinity, because this chart looks like it's going to flatline for infinity to me until it doesn't. And that's the beautiful thing about trading. When it shows a sign of life, when it can gain some slope on its standard deviation modeling to the upside.
Well, let me ask you, this thing's been grinding down here for, almost a year now. Do you think it's going to really break in half to $1.30, or do you think it's got a better chance to go to $4? And that's the bet here. I think, forget about the $50.
Well, here's my problem with the whole space. And I said it 2 years ago. The ease of growing your own is so ridiculous. All right. So maybe the space is in the added value, right? Making the gummies or something in the medical field. I just don't see, not only that, the long-term studies now, there's a lot, overabundance of narratives that are saying, maybe legalization wasn't the best policy because there's a lot of negative coming from long-term use of THC. So it was everybody's panacea forever. Just legalize it. It's the greatest drug ever. And there's no downside to it. Well, they're finding out now there's some significant downside to it, especially in young minds.
Yes.
And especially in heavy use. And so, like everything else, how do you spin that? I'm not sure that there is a good spin for it. So you can grow more than you could ever smoke in a lifetime in a couple of seasons. And the negative news of long-term use and habitual use is going to be incredibly negative going forward. So where's the great story?
Right.
I don't know.
Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little baseball. Let's talk a little sports again. I mean, how about that Padres? It was great to see the fans just shouting, their distaste for LA, beat LA, FLA. And I love the Dodgers. So, but I've got sons that go to school in San Diego, and I've become a Padres fan, and I really like what they've built down there, and I like the fans are like into it. And whenever fans haven't had a winner like this since 1998, since Tony Gwynn, I mean, how can you not root for? And again, even though I could care less about the Phillies, matter of fact, I'm going to hate the Phillies just because they're Jim Cramer's team. So,
dude, you have to find. I'll share it with you on Twitter. Bill Burr's rant in Philly. It was some comedy festival, and he was like last up. There had been hours and hours of comedians, and he's just getting booed right away. And he goes on a 15 fuck you minute rant about Philly and Philadelphians. That is, I'm sure he tried to have it scrubbed from existence because it was so vilely brutal. But yeah.
Lee, we've talked about it. Yeah, the last two times the Phillies won the World Series, we had a full-on recession. 08 and 98, I think, were the last two. So yeah, we're well aware of this. So maybe that is the news. The negative news that Bob's been waiting for is a Phillies World Championship with the World
like
Series.
put a fork in the U.S. economy if the Phillies win the World Series. Just
yeah.
put
Well,
a fork in it.
here's the interesting thing: you got the two best teams in baseball. Basically, I think Astros and Yankees. Yankees will come home to New York tonight and win, and beat the Indians. By the way, I do not call them the Guardians, and I do not call them the Commanders. They are the Redskins and the Indians. Thank you very little. And then so let's say you got the Yankees and Astros battling it for the AL division championship series, and then you got the two wild cards. You got the Padres playing the Phillies with the Padres with the home field advantage. I love it, right? So at least we get the first two in San Diego, three back in the rain of Philadelphia and of late October, miserable place to play baseball. And then we get to come back and finish them off in San Diego with the two games at Petco. So I'm excited about that at the end of the day. And I think it's going to be, I think both these series, and honestly, I hope the Indians lose because I just want to see, Yankees and Astros. Both those teams have amazing pitching staffs and hitting. So just to watch those two match up, that's the World Series right there, right? Quite frankly. Any thoughts on that yourself?
No, I have no thoughts on baseball. Baseball has not been bad.
Well, on the upside, you got a break this week from. Well, no, you didn't because your team lost on Thursday, and I forgot it was Thursday night that the Bears lost.
The good news is
good news is the Lions didn't have to lose 48-45 again, and because they didn't play. But the bad news is the Vikings are running away with the NFC Norris division. What's going on?
They sure are. And it was so nice to see your Jets put a thumping on Green Bay. I got to tell you, there must have been some hard swallows at Lambeau.
Speaking of hard swallows, how do you think Tom Brady's doing right now with his Buccaneers losing to who? They lost to somebody. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had won one game. And Brady was just losing his shit on the sidelines, saying, "Why did I leave Giselle for all you punks?" I mean, it's bad.
Can you imagine? Yeah, he's got major coming out of retirement remorse.
I feel really, really badly for him. I mean, really
my heart pumps piss for him too. Thank you, Matt. Anyway, that's all.
So football, we got a lot. I mean, we got a couple divisions.
Who did Michigan got this week?
They got the bye. Thankfully, they're going to get really healthy for Little Bro the following week.
They should mop Little Bro up, but it is a rivalry. So
hey, Little Bro beat Little Bro shouldn't have won this past weekend, and they did so against Wisconsin. But again, the Big Ten is every game is tough. Like you said, like you're acting like Penn State was giving us a battle, except we were just battling ourselves. So it's yourself that can beat you in these tough games. And that's what almost happened Saturday. Michigan should have been up 21-0. They couldn't pump the ball. They couldn't get a touchdown. And then, the 5'9" quarterback that's been there 18 years, he's seriously like a 36-year-old 6-year quarterback for Penn State.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that,
But he's been there forever. Anyways, we have no linebacker apparently that was even watching him. They weren't concerned about him running. So the 5'9" broke out of the front line there and went like 65 yards again. So again, it was brutal to watch. And then McCarthy bangs one against his lineman's helmet and they intercept and run that back for a touchdown. So yes, don't tell me. And
who does Tennessee have? Because obviously that's
I don't know. I'm not looking forward yet. We're just getting out of that week. So I don't look at college football things until about Wednesday for the next week. I want to see the lines settle for a couple days. There's no hurry.
No hurry. Yeah, actually, that's a smart way to. You want to see how the lines move, actually, unless you have
especially now. Lines like before everything was legalized, they didn't move like this. Now they're like the shit. They can move, 2 to 9 points, which is huge. Like if you're just a 2-point favorite and you move to a 9, like that helped me this week with Clemson with the whole Florida State thing. Like, again, it got it down to like three points and they ended up winning by 6 or 7. So if it should have been like 8 or 9, right? That's where the line should have been. So thank you, Seminoles fans, again. We had a number of games that, although the teams we picked to win didn't win the games, they covered. So it was a tough week. It was not an easy week to pick. Tennessee, outright on that money line against Bama. What a game. It was fun to watch too. It really was a fun game.
So Michigan makes the top four with the Associated Press. Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan.
Michigan's number 3 in the coaches poll, number 4 in the AP. That is correct. So.
All right. Yeah. It's getting there. It's getting there to the most wonderful time of the year, right? I mean, late college football season, Thanksgiving, that's my favorite time.
Stop the presses, but the Red Wings open this weekend, Friday, Saturday games, 2-0, baby. 2-0.
First place. Say it now. First place Red Wings.
All I'm saying is 2-0. They are undefeated, and they're on their way to Sir Stanley this year. This is going to be the year. Detroit's back.
Detroit is back. All right, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me from God's country. I know what are you gonna get out on the tube? You're gonna water ski? You're a big barefoot guy, right?
Well, I mean, like big, bowling ball like you. I'd love to see you out barefooting on perfect.
Wait a second. He's a big bear claw guy, not barefoot. He's a bear claw double latte guy.
That's right.
Justin, get him a couple bear claws. He looks like he's disintegrating out there in God's country on the Olympic Peninsula. All right, Matt, thank you so much. Please join us on marketvitals.io. Please share, retweet, and plagiarize. We're probably the only broadcast out there that pleases or pleads with people to plagiarize our content. Please plagiarize.
Let me ask you this. Biden did his West Coast, tour.
The best was Jill Biden at the game last night.
Well, she was
a thunderous "fuck you, Joe Biden" chorus at Philly.
Did you see it?
If you heard the audio, it was unreal. How does she keep smiling through that? That's just been through it, I guess, before.
But the interesting thing I think about that whole tour was like he stayed like an extra night, probably because he needed a nap in Oregon, and he woke up and he's like he wanted ice cream, but before they got on Air Force One, who has the optics on this? Why would you go to why would you go to Baskin Robbins in Gresham when you could have gone to Salt and Straw? Like there's 4 or 5 locations. You could have gone to the best ice cream that Joe Biden had ever had, and he could have promoted
it's local, regional, grassroots,
local business. Yada, right? Yes. Yeah. Like, where are the optics in these people? Do they not know how to take advantage of any? They have no chance with whoever's running the circus over there, because I just don't get it. And then to then watch him ramble about how there is no inflation, but there's inflation everywhere in the world. We have less inflation than everywhere else in the world. Wow, this he's a brilliant leader. When I hear him talk, I just go, wow, he's right.
Oh,
right. There's inflation everywhere, and it's Putin's fault. It's not Zelensky's fault. It's the I don't know, $28 billion we've sent to pad Zelensky's pockets. That's all good. Everything's good. Ice cream up.
Ice cream up. And amazingly, no petroleum in that ice cream. Oh, wait a second. It's Baskin Robbins.
Might be some plastic in that.
All right. That's all we got. Visit Amazon.com and buy some Shrimp Mojo. For God's sakes, do yourself a favor, cook someone a meal. And why if you're going to do that, if you're going to cook somebody a meal, why not make it a solid kick to the chops on flavor? Let's just bring back flavor. That's what Shrimp Mojo does. And not just for shrimp, by the way, pretty much for everything and anything. All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bob. Have a great
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, LC Bishop. Thank you very much for joining us.
Where are we on the Nasdaq and the SPOOs? Give me a quick update. I can't see a quick price there.
Update. Nazi. Hold on. I got to scrolling time. Nasdaq is 11,091 quarter last. SPOOs 3685.75 last.
Haven't moved.
Just get used to 3.5% moves, because they're going to happen routinely. When you put 40% more money into the system that has ever been created in the history of man, there are consequences. And these are them.
The dollar is down considerably today. Again, just to point out, so that matches up with what the market is doing. Dollar down to 111.94, which is that's a big move. Again, down big percent. So they're having a hard time making a new high still on that dollar up there at 115. So you got to watch that. That could portend nicely into that rally in the equities that we keep talking about. Again, watch that 35. Again, it's obvious right now, 35, 3,600 are your two different levels on the S&P, but I think we're going to see that 39.50, 40.50 into this earnings season. For whatever reason, the earnings aren't going to be as bad as Bob wants them to be. So we're going to probably.
No, well, here, Matt, here's another couple of things that you got to keep your eye on, as we've talked about, not really any terrible news. So the Empire State Index down 9.1. But coming up now, tomorrow we got industrial production, and then we got the home builders index. All right. And then building permits, housing starts. I mean, these are the things that if there's giant misses, there's going to be a giant going on in this market. And the other thing that I just find amusing is there's a Fed governor talking every day, and sometimes 2 or 3 times. Like the spin that they're trying to put on this,
15 moments a week. Actually, it's about 15.
It's unbelievable. It's like the more they talk, the more my radar goes up. Like why? If everything is great, shut the fuck up. Oh, wait a second. Maybe everything isn't great. I don't know. That's the way I think. It's like they keep talking. It's going to be a long, miserable winter of death. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for talking. All right, Matt, go enjoy the lake. Wet a line, for God's sakes. Pull in a trophy trout out of that. Gorgeous.
Yeah, I think that they have some salmon. They have some, they call them like breakside, I think, which are like some type of ocean going lake trout they have here. And then they have, I don't know. Yeah. I wish I could just go dig up a worm and toss it in there a little bit.
Listen, a fucking river runs through it. No worms in coffee cans. Tie a fly, for God's sakes.
No,
That's it. All right, you're done. I'm done with you.
Such God's country.
Fucking worm. The guy says, I'm going to dig up a fucking worm. Can you take the hillbilly out of Michigan? No, you can't.
Absolutely.
You can't dig up a fucking worm. What a joke. Goodbye. Beat it. Fucking worm. He's a worm fisherman, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, I want to catch something. I put a little bacon.
Who had Davio as a worm fisherman?
I'll put a little bacon and Oscar Mayer.
You know what works, dude? Is
Oscar Mayer Bologna. Oscar Mayer Bologna is the best.
Gummy bears. It's THC ones too. Get those fish baked. Baked fish.
Then you throw them on the grill.
Right there, you pull them up. They're already done. They're baked. You just eat it. All right. Goodbye.